Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we're looking at Namor the Submariner, number 11 and 12 from the John Byrne series in the early 90s. Can't wait to show it to you. So subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and let's get right into it. I feel like Namor is one of John Byrne's more underrated kind of series. I mean, John Byrne, consistently produced monthly work, sometimes twice monthly, if not more than that, on a regular basis for decades. And, he's had several runs, some obviously with more fanfare than others, Fantastic Four, Alpha Flight, X-Men, She-Hulk, Superman. So I feel like, his shorter runs on Hulk. I mean, Namor was 25 issues of him writing and penciling, and then he did continue to write. I think it was great. He was doing this duo shade for parts of the series. It felt like there was a lot of experimentation. He, decided to go sort of the more corporate angle with Namor, which like the sort of businessman sort of storyline was sort of popular in the early 90s. So this is 1990. Marvel's First and Mightiest Mutant is how they touted the series, I guess, trying to ride the coattails of mutant popularity. And I think John Byrne put together that Namor is technically a mutant, and so that was his angle. Anyway, great splash page here. John Byrne, words and pictures. Glynis Oliver, colors. Editing by Terry Kavanagh. So this would be at a point in Byrne's career where he started digitally lettering his own work. John Byrne deserves more credit as like an overall cartoonist as far as handling the writing, penciling, inking, and lettering at this point. He very few and far between delved into coloring. Part of the reason I would suspect is because he is colorblind. But even though he did color some things, and I hate to say it, but he's not the best colorist. You really can't have it all, I guess. But I mean, I'll take what we have. Glynis Oliver's colors, Glynis Wein, depending on the period of her career, has always been a good match for Byrne. Obviously, an important part of the X-Men. He's penciling and inking his own art here and doing the duo shade, which is an effect where you would use treated paper and apply a chemical to it to reveal this pattern. And if you go one way, it creates a certain pattern. And I believe if you go another way, it creates an even darker pattern. So hence the duo shade, two shades. Similar to Zipatone, if you guys know what that is, but not really the same thing. It's not the same application. Zipatone is typically transparent overlays that you cut out and put on the art. I don't know if we're going to see any examples of duotone, a duo shade and Zipatone in here, but that would be exciting. John Byrne loved, it's funny, given his age, he started reading comic books when, it was, he was born in 1950, so, I'm sure it was common to have Nazis as the villains, especially in the dawn of superhero comics in the 40s. Captain America notoriously was punching out Adolf Hitler on the cover of Captain America #1, and, it's always been good for, pro-America, enemy propaganda, I suppose, in a way. I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine that being a thing these days. Things are definitely different. I mean, it would be kind of tacky to make war enemies the villains, I guess, in a way. I mean, you don't see, a lot of... I don't even know. I don't even know what to compare it to. The art is just, super gorgeous here. I mean, I do feel like John Byrne definitely does have such a... and this is his excuse. I feel like he has, he's known as Mr. Fix-It when he comes on with a story, whether it's fixing holes in continuity or answering questions about powers or just sort of fixing glitches. One of the things that he pushed for or wanted, I mean, he's a huge, nostalgia buff and pushed for the Invaders reunion, which we're going to see next issue. But I just kind of, you know, you can tell, like, he definitely loves this era and loves the history of comic books and loves, like, drawing any sort of nostalgia thing. One thing I always loved about Byrne, because his art definitely does teeter on the cartoonish side, is, like, how he does the stars when someone's being punched. I mean, that is such a comic book, cartoon strip kind of trope. Never to be taken for granted, the level of detail in the backgrounds and the surroundings Byrne creates, the imaginative, you know, perspective, he always brings it in his art. He just makes it seem so effortless. And, you know, he always did bring, I feel like he always brought this is why John Byrne, aside from the, you know, art that we love so much, I think the fun of his writing is that, you know, he's always introducing new characters and new concepts and new ways, you know, ideas and storylines for the characters, but he also brings in nostalgia and respect for what has come before. So I think that is the key success to, you know, the longevity of his career, and why it was always exciting to follow Byrne on to different books, because you always knew he was going to bring something more and exciting, newer and exciting, and just fun. And I cringe when I look at the printing and how awful this looks, and like how muddy this black is, and just like, ugh, like this art has just got to be so gorgeous. I would love to see like a Namor artist edition. I mean, I don't think there would be a huge call, or I don't think they would feel it would sell enough. But I think that the core, like, John Byrne fan base is going to buy any artist edition they put out. And that's why I will, to my dying breath, be asking for an Alpha Flight artist edition. Arguably, Alpha Flight might not be the best choice, but there's a lot of great artistry in that. I finally got my American edition Alpha Flight Omnibus. I'm gearing up for that video, so stay tuned, people. I love seeing these characters, these old Spitfire, Union Jack, Namor. The event invaders are here. It is just fun to see John Byrne draw any superhero, but it was always fun to see him draw, like, superheroes that you've never seen him draw before. Issue 11. And issue 12. Is it a double-sized issue? Of course. It's John Byrne, giant-sized anniversary issue. In comic books, they always did, like, number 12 had a double-sized issue, like either 25, 50, 75, 100, you know, every 25 issues you usually got a double-sized issue. And if John Byrne was on the book, he was drawing it and continuing his monthly run. I mean, so unprecedented. The coloring, I don't know if, I think it's the flexographic printing, which is making it a little off, but it does look a little garish in some points, and I definitely do think that is due to the printing. Colored by Glynis Oliver, edited by Terry Kavanagh, editor-in-chief Tom DeFalco. So this is post-Shooter in the 90s, of course. It's funny because I feel like there's certain things that are instantly like John Byrne tropes and instantly recognizable, and like just seeing like a character laying on a slab like that is pretty evocative of John Byrne's work. You know, he really was so skillful with this duo shade effect, and he used it on OMAC, and he cites OMAC, and a lot of fans cite OMAC as one of the best things Byrne has ever done. It's certainly one of the most inspired and some of the most beautiful art, and he just kills it with his use of duo shade. I feel, and this is just John Byrne's art in general, that, you know, using a gimmick like this, you could definitely run into the trap of sort of overusing it and overdoing it, and I definitely have seen it overused and overdone before. And I feel like John Byrne just like knows exactly like when to call it quits. I always think of certain things would be great epitaphs. He knew when to call it quits. It was a great epitaph. completely unrelated to John Byrne, by the way, who I feel is the new Betty White. Like, he's the last golden girl of the great comic book artists, since they're all dropping like flies. We just lost Tim Sale, George Perez, Neil Adams. I mean, like, ugh, it's crushing. Gotta hold on tight and cherish these great artists like John Byrne, who is currently supposedly maybe in an artistic slump, and until his cataract surgery was killing it on X-Men fanfiction Elsewhere. I just love his art, and I say it often, and I'll say it again. I feel like part of it's a testament, or maybe a tribute is a better word, to his father being a, architect. John Byrne just draws such great interiors, exteriors, buildings, landscapes, and I would love to see like him have a spread in Town and Country or Architectural Digest, just like include certain things, you know, like the living room of the X Mansion, and, you know, Spider-Man's apartment, or when he had money. Fun, fun, fun. I'm called Union Jack. I love that. That's evocative of Alan Davis's second version, or third, rather, version of Captain Britain's costume. I just love when John Byrne draws characters like this. He just draws such a classic, cool, fun-looking superheroes that just made me fall in love with comic book art, and why he will forever and always be like my favorite comic book artist. I just love his art so, so much. And I love a good sound effect. The things that make comics great. It's funny because you can tell like different periods of John Byrne's art, and this was sort of you know, a thing he was doing is using like this sort of drop shadow back to the thing, which I feel was kind of popularized like when DC started going to the Baxter paper and started like being able to bleed to the edge of the page. I don't know if you can necessarily do it in this printing yet. This is, I think, still the Mando or flexographic, whatever. We're still in, I mean, comic books would, it's funny, that's my only thing I can give to modern comics, that they have the edge on old comics, is better printing and paper, 100%, hands down. It's like, comic book is a visual medium with beautiful art and deserves to be cherished and seen in its best potential glory. However, the downside to that is that printing is freaking expensive. It ups the cost of the books and shrinks the audience, making it more of a niche market or something that only certain people can afford. At $5 a pop, you know, that's not, I mean, even this, like dropping $1 a comic book was like, oh, it's still affordable, you know, still way affordable. You could still get like 5 to 10 comics a week, depending on how many extra chores you did that week. But now, forget it. Oh my God. I'd have to have like a $60 allowance to even buy half the comic books I used to buy when I was young. And that truly saddens me. Are we eating our own, eating our young, closing out the market? I mean, I think comic books shoot themselves in the foot in a lot of ways, and there are a lot of great things that could and should be done. And certain things have been. I mean, there are a lot of great comic books out there via Kickstarter and other avenues. And is his name Marita? No, I don't know. John Byrne was always like bringing back old characters, and oh, she was old. Okay, whatever. I wasn't paying attention. I was going off on my tangent. Look at this great comic book art. I love to see the blue and white Fantastic Four comic book. That is so my favorite John Byrne era Fantastic Four. Johnny looks so great. It's so fun to see the Fantastic Four in here. And Captain America. Who draws a better Cap? Nobody. Don't say John Cassidy. He's a great artist, but John Byrne's Cap is, I mean, nothing will ever top that Cap for President circle that we all know and love that Byrne drew, right? Anyway, more fun comics from John Byrne. A couple of great issues of Namor. Beautiful art. Fun Invaders reunion. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button and I'll bring you more later.